This base has the cheesiest shooting floor in the game. If you spot this base from a distance, you're already dead. By the time you see it, the owner will already be aiming at your head. I spent 50 real-time hours rebuilding a bunch of bases and hundreds of concepts to achieve the perfect balance. Comfortable starter shack, well-thought-out base expansion, impressive appearance, and the best shooting floor in recent times. And that's not even counting the pixel picks that allows you to shooting through textures. I will show you the full step-by-step construction of the base, as well as tell you about all its features and tricks, including secret stash places where you can store your resources even if you get raided. The entire base can be built from 1TC, which means you don't need any special knowledge in construction, just this video. The base is built in 4 stages. You have already seen the initial stage. The second is a 2-story house with access to the roof and 2 entrances to the base. The third stage needs no introduction because from this moment on, everyone will hate you.
What the f*** is this piece?
Well, it all ends with a neat compound. Turret shooting floor, large furnaces, spacious loot room, combat spawns, traps, turbines, air defense, and me, who will show you all this from the inside. This base is maximally comfortable for survival. No matter which side you approach from, you will always have an entrance to the base. There are 6 such entrances in total. Next to each entrance is a turret and a shotgun trap. Even if you are being raided through these doors, a second turret comes into play, which looks at the door. Right between these turrets is one of the entrances to the base. Going further, we see another exit from the base. You can exit from any side of this base. There are simply no blind spots under this base. You can even kill those who are running along your fence. Of course, you can also shoot at long distances. You can also control those who will be door camping you. There is no way to hide from this shooting range. So door camping you in this house is a very ghostly prospect. All turrets on the territory are protected by chains. And all this is built on the principle of 3-way symmetry. You also have 3 large furnaces on the territory. If you are raided through the high walls, the raiders will not be able to go further until they break the large furnace. This is a fairly strong addition to the base. Regarding the large furnace, even if it's broken, it will only make things worse for raiders. 2 turrets behind the chains will start shooting at them, and behind the green door is a direct lift to the shooting floor. I personally really like the layout of this house. Every inch of space is used to the maximum. The base entrance is through a regular furnace. There's also a simple shotgun trap here, and look how many doors I have here. And there is also a turret watching over everything. This floor has only 2 loot rooms, each with 6 boxes. And they are located at such a distance from each other that it will not be possible to blow up 2 with a splash at once. Here we have another base exit with the same shotgun trap, and as you already understood, we have 2 base exits, and the turret located here controls both of these entrances. If we go up, you will notice that we have a huge number of doors here too. On the right, we have an exit to the shooting floor. On the left, we also have an exit to the shooting floor, and in the center is the comeback spawn. Also a very important point, we have 2 exits to the shooting floor, and both of these exits are controlled by this turret. And next to it, in this place behind 2 windows, is a large battery. I will tell you how to connect everything when we build it. Just look at what a great shooting floor I got. There are simply no blind spots under this base. And these roofs will allow you to comfortably shoot from a sitting position, but of course a peak on the roof is also provided. And do you know what is the coolest thing about this shooting floor? It is that from here you can control 4 entrances to the territory at once, and you have a pixel that will be very difficult to shoot you through. And if they start raiding you through the high walls I showed you there, it will be very difficult for them. And look, I just showed you how I peek at 4 compound entrances at once, but this is only from one side of the shooting floor, and you have 2 more sides. Do you feel how imbalanced this shooting floor is? And again, keep in mind that you don't need to strain yourself at all to build such a shooting floor. Also, I provided for such a quick descent to the very bottom, which leads to the first floor and actually to the street. This will help you a lot if you need to loot someone quickly. And let's go up to the most imbalanced place in this base. This is her roof. Here you have 3 exits to the shooting floor, as well as a place for a copter, mixing tables, and 3 turbines with turrets. And of course, such a cheater pixel. That is, you climb onto this roof, look where someone is running there, and then sit down in this pixel. If for some reason they can kill you from here, then feel free to complain to F7, because killing you, players without soft, will be almost impossible. Look, I turned up the quality of the objects, and this is how your enemies will see you. I play on the highest possible graphics, and I get this when I move 40 meters away from the base. That is, no matter what PC your enemies have, it is unrealistic to see you in this pixel. I feel like this is the new meta shooting floor in this game, unless they fix it, of course. And now let's go down to the very bottom of our base. Behind the HQM bottom door are 2 electric furnaces, as well as a shotgun trap between them. If we go down, the turret will immediately look at us. By the way, there are 12 turrets in this base, but the very first floor of this base is your starting shack. The unlootable TC is also located here. Its upkeep is in front of you. But that's not all I wanted to tell you about this base. Remember I showed you the shooting floor. So, the entire shooting floor is powered from the base using such straw. That is, you can break this straw at any time and put a full-fledged multi-TC to the base. This is top, I think. Do you know where else such a cool trick with furnaces is used? On my new 4th private base on Patreon. This base is a real beast capable of withstanding an attack of over 80 rockets. I have integrated an incredible number of different bunkers into it, external, internal, to suit all tastes. Open core controlling turrets, one of the best shooting floor. You will find all this in this base. Get access to this and other private bases for just $7.50. By subscribing to Patreon, you will get access to all my private bases, and there are already 4 of them. The link to Patreon will be in the description. Subscribe, you won't regret it. As always, I recommend immediately sketching out the future foundation plan of the base. Today we have a base entirely made of triangles. To save HQM, I recommend upgrading the central triangles to sheet metal, then add HQM to the border and make everything else from sheet metal. This is the first video where I will show you 2 starter shacks for this base at once, a budget option and a more expensive one. I will immediately upgrade to the final version. You can initially make everything out of stone. Please note that to make the TC unlootable, you need to place it inside the opening for the triangular hatch and then close it with a window opening. Now I will show you the complete layout of the budget option. As a result, you will have 2 large boxes, 1 furnace, and 1 sleeping bag here. This is in case you have almost no resources at the start. But as you can see, even this is more than enough for initial development. If there are more of you playing or you had a good wipe day, then we immediately add another room. And from this moment on, there are already 2 doors to the TC. This room will contain everything for a more comfortable survival. As always, I add light for your convenience. Here we will have 2 more large boxes. The first workbench, 3 furnaces, as well as 3 small boxes and 2 sleeping bags. From the outside, it will all look exactly like this. And even 3 people will be able to survive comfortably in such a shack. If you want to put additional doors, feel free to do so. Next, we build up another room, but here we will have an exit to the 2nd floor, so do not accidentally build it up. And additional furnaces for smelting metal can be placed right here. A huge thank you for such a huge response to the previous video. 8,000 views and 650 likes. This is of course very cool. Do not leave this video without attention. Like, comment, and share with friends. I would also like to express my special gratitude to the first 8 people who subscribed to Patreon. This motivates me to continue doing what I do. And don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Videos are released here regularly. Thanks. Next, pay attention to a very important point. To the left of our descent, we put an opening for a double door, and to the right, we make a rise to the 3rd floor. This is necessary by and large only in order to sometimes climb out there and shoot back. Personally, it seems to me that such a phased construction is most suitable for this house. Just put double doors on the top and bottom. Here's what it looks like from the outside. This base is almost completely symmetrical. We install window openings on the left and right. Then, on the sides of these openings, we install frames for double doors. And then you can cover everything with ceilings. When you already have a normal supply of resources, it is better to upgrade everything here to sheet metal. And do not forget to put at least wooden bars on the windows so that no one can climb to you. And to get base, you can simply put a straw roof. From the outside, everything should look exactly like this. Some of you might say, look, hidden joint, you have windows there, which means you can use it as a starter shooting floor. Of course you can, just be careful. Otherwise, you yourself saw what just happened. Therefore, as soon as resources appear, we remove these wooden bars and begin to build our future loot room. As a result, you should be able to fit 6 large boxes here. If you have the DLC with barrels, then of course you can put barrels here. But since I am a simple person, I install ordinary boxes. And to make it convenient to do this, just put the box, jump on it, and install all the boxes from it. Even you can do it, I'm sure. And on the other side, where we have the same window opening, we do exactly the same thing. With your permission, I will speed up this moment. You know, I think you already understood how everything is installed there. And from this moment on, these loot rooms can already be used. Now, our task is to hide all the HQM walls that look out into the street. That is, we need to make sure that there are at least 2 walls to our main, and there is nothing complicated about this. Just as soon soon as you see HQM walls, build walls. I recommend doing this right now because the base is already not small and you really want to raid it. The only exception is the back of the base. Here in the future, we will have a rise to the shooting floor. So here we add walls only on the left and right. There is no need to add anything in the middle yet. And when you have done everything, you can upgrade everything to sheet metal. I specifically make this metal black so that you can see what we have built now. If you run out of resources at this stage, you can temporarily climb using a straw roof. But I use a creative server. I always have resources. Therefore, I will now show you how to build a full-fledged entrance to the base. Personally, it is not difficult for me to climb through the stove. If you don't like it, you can implement the ascent using a regular ladder. We made one entrance and we have two entrances to the house. Therefore, from this side, we do absolutely the same thing. And now look, this is my personal observation and my advice to you. The base is already overgrown with additional walls on the sides, which means I would recommend putting doors everywhere inside at this stage, because at this stage, they are unlikely to raid the wall, most likely through the doors. Look for yourself who dares to blow up such a thing at the beginning of the wipe day. Therefore, if there are no garage doors, then at least ordinary ones. Now we are starting to build the third floor properly. Here we have a descent to the floor below. Remember, we did it. And to the right of this place is our battery room. It will be located behind two windows. If you want, you can hide it, as I showed on Patreon. But I would actually leave it like this. The main thing here is not to be mistaken. First, add one wall on the left and right. Then, near these walls, add openings for double doors. And then in the center between them, we make a blank for our combat room. The third floor of this house is very important for online protection, so don't skimp on upgrading it to sheet metal. The only thing that can be left in stone here is the frames. Let the double doors open outward. Inside the combat spawn, you will have two beds as well as two small boxes. I could have made a combat spawn with a locker here, but I didn't because it makes this main combat spawn less secure. Also, look, the first turret that you will have in the house should be here. Firstly, close to the battery, and secondly, it will control the exits for shooting, and your beds, of course. From the outside, the third floor should look exactly like this. Now look, here is one wide side, here is the second wide side, and here is the third. It is from these sides that we will build our imbalanced shooting floor. It is built in the way I am showing on the video now. If you cannot place a high foundation, just place a low one and add half walls to simulate a high foundation. Here I recommend upgrading everything to metal because our shooting floor will be held on these blocks. And my task is to make sure that it does not crumble from rockets at the base. If anything, you can initially upgrade to stone, of course, but then be sure to upgrade to sheet metal. And the roof from below can, of course, be left stone. It is only needed for more convenient shooting. Please note that this entire extension that we are currently making will rot. It needs to be connected with such square frames. I would advise leaving them in the straw. And then just before leaving the game, simply break and build a multi-TC. Carefully build the shooting floor as I do in the video so that you get a kind of check mark. And don't forget to put a triangular ceiling here for the future turret. If you want to put it later, it won't work. For any questions related to this base, you can write comments under the video. I will answer. Look, you need to put frames here, but not in this place where I put it now, but on the triangles that are further from the base. This is necessary so that you can put ceilings on them and make a normal exit for yourself here. And of course, so that you then have that cheater peak. Otherwise, if you do it differently, you simply will not have enough stability for it. And then in the future, you install a turret in this place. You should get exactly the same as I have in the video. I seem to have told it in detail, there should be no problems. Now I will show you how to build everything correctly below. We put chains doors on the sides below. Here in the center, we install a turret. It can already be connected. And here we put embrasures, which will be located on the inside. If you put it outside, you will have less visibility there. And then maybe someone will be able to door camp you. The base has three-way symmetry, which means that we do exactly the same thing on the remaining two sides. This is probably the most difficult thing about this base, but you yourself saw that there is really nothing complicated. The most important thing is to start building in the right place. And I think there will be no problems with the relief. You can see the base is quite narrow, and plus the difference in foundations does not really matter. All differences can be compensated with half walls. The finished shooting floor should look exactly like this. Please note that we have now added 2 more parts of the shooting floor, but they will rot if you do not put such square frames. Once you have installed them, it means that these shootings are now powered by the main TC. Now I will show you how to build the most default multi-TC for this base. But in general, you can put absolutely any multi-TC that you like here. Bunker TC, disconnected TC, all together, it doesn't matter. Look, my TC is not being placed right now. I break the straw that connects my shooting floor, and after that, the TC is placed calmly. I close it with 2 window openings, and now I have a regular multi-TC for 7 rockets. You can make some tricky connection here, or you can not even bother. Just upgrade these foundations to sheet metal so that they cannot be knocked out, and you can put 2 more of these cupboards. Now look, we need to build a shooting floor in these places. Let's start with the central part. We put window openings along the border. You can't go wrong here. Then put the ceilings as I do in the video. This is a very important point, as it may seem at first, because if you put it in the wrong place, then you will not be able to make a cheetah peak. We upgrade the window openings and ceilings themselves to metal, and upgrade the frames to stone. Place the doors so that they close the gap that we have on the side, and we install the embrasures to taste. The base has 3-way symmetry, and on the remaining 2 sides we do exactly the same thing. With your permission, I will speed up this moment. I think you all understood, and almost when all the shooting is ready, the house should look exactly like this. Remember the quick descent to the very bottom on the shooting floor? Now we will build it up correctly. We will rise in this place through with a shotgun trap. We install a triangular hatch, and from this triangular hatch, we install 2 lockers. Once you install them, install half walls and sides. When you're done, we no longer need the hatch we're standing on, so we remove it and put it higher. And as you can see, it is quite convenient for everyone to use. And to get the resources from these lockers, you will have to spend at least 7 rockets, if they find all this at all. This is such a descent and a hiding place in one. Now let's make the cheater peak itself. We need more stability for it. In order to have enough stability, you need to put an opening for a double door below. This must be done on all 3 sides of our base. Everything is the same everywhere. Again, I will speed up. I think you understand everything. And now, when you have enough stability for everything, you install triangular roofs in these places on each side. And when you have installed such triangular roofs on each side, there is also such an empty space between them. This is where we also put triangular roofs. I hope I deserve your like for showing you such a cheater shooting floor. In my opinion, this is the strongest feature at the moment. I hope they don't fix it in the near future. And to make it comfortable to roof camp, it is better to put a rug here. Then you will not have any drops, and it will be more comfortable to shoot. But this is not all that needs to be done for this base. We also need to have a compound with 3 large furnaces. And this is how I show you how everything works. I have maximum graphics, if anything. And now let's make a small and neat compound for this base. Here we put a square foundation, and from it we put a triangular foundation, and then we build it up as I do in the video. There is nothing complicated about this. The difficulties will come later. There is no point in upgrading to sheet metal, so leave everything in stone. For one such triangle, you will need 1 single door, 1 double door, and 1 vertical embrasure. That is, to build the entire territory, simply multiply all this by 6. And now the most difficult thing in the construction of our compound. This is the installation of a large furnace. Why is it difficult, you ask? Because it is not enough to simply install a large furnace in the way I did just now. You can run through it, and that doesn't suit me. To do this, we repeat the same steps that I do. First, I make a small border using foundations. You need to do the same. Then I add 2 triangular foundations and install a small side. Here I show it again from above so that you do not forget. Then we stand in the center of the side and remove it. Then we take 1 small step forward and take the large furnace in our hands. Our task is to make the blue texture of the large furnace as close as possible to the square foundation on the right. If you place the stove in the same way that I did, then it will be impossible to pass anywhere. It seems to me that I am inadequate, but I honestly say I love beautiful bases, and I love it when they turn out beautifully for me in survival. If you like to repeat my experience, then I showed you how to do it. As you can see, I did it all the first time. You can safely shoot from the windows, and when you enter the territory, nothing prevents you from walking here. And since the base has 3-way symmetry, we do the same thing on 2 more sides. As you can see, I already have experience and I have no problems with it. I managed to do everything the first time. And here is such a finished base we get, almost finished. We need to put iron barricades in these places. To do this, we put auxiliary triangles, then we put iron barricades, and after that, these straw triangles can be demolished. Everything is the same on all 3 sides. You will need 6 barricades for the entire base. blades. It doesn't seem like much, but you can still have problems with blades. Therefore, somewhere in the middle of your survival, stop recycling blades. Remember the places where we have roof exits? We put our wind turbines in these very places. A total of 3 wind turbines can fit on the house. Air defense can be placed in the center. This is the base that turned out. I would like to say a special thank you to the subscribers on Patreon, as well as to everyone else who likes, comments, and watches my videos. Thanks for watching and watch my other videos, and I'll go and come up with a new base. Yes, not a house, but a base.